From downtown Macon, this is WGXA News live on YouTube.
Good evening, Middle Georgia. I'm Amanda Peralta.
I'm Greg Lloyd, moving my cup out of the way here. Amanda and I thank you for watching WGXA News at 5:30.
Residents of High Falls are voicing their opposition to 3 warehouses that may be developed.
Now, Brianna Cook went out on the lake to speak with a concerned resident. And Brianna, what are they saying?
Greg and Amanda, residents are concerned that the lake quality and property value will go down if these 3 warehouses are built.
I truly can't figure out why they want to use the state park lake for a warehouse.
A development that has taken nearly 20 years to sell may be developed soon by a company called Hillwood South. The project includes 3 expansive industrial warehouses totaling in 3 million square feet and 284 acres of land. The land crosses onto Monroe, Butts, and Lamar counties. Joe Reed, a resident of Monroe, says the lake is already developed with homes, and they are concerned with the impacts the warehouses may have.
Our property values will nosedive if these warehouses go in. The water from this lake flows eventually into the Ocmulgee, which goes down to Macon. So the water quality for Macon could be impacted.
The site is situated on the northwest corner of High Falls Lake, is expected to generate 1,300 tons of waste annually and necessitate the consumption of over 60,000 gallons of water per day. He expressed if Hillwood is granted approval to build and does so, then it will be a bad look for the company.
If you develop this land with warehouses, you and your company and your legacy will be vilified for decades.
Current Monroe County Commissioners stand united in opposing the development, unanimously passing a drafted objection to the project last month, with more commission meetings in the future to discuss more of the development.
It's not the current commissioner's fault that this land is zoned industrial, but they do have an opportunity to correct a terrible misjudgment.
Reporting in Monroe, Brianna Cook, WGXA News.
Thanks, Brianna. And tonight we have continuing coverage from a story we first brought to you last month. We introduced you to a Warner Robins resident named Sylvia Eubanks. Eubanks has been unhappy with a new ordinance that was passed earlier this year, making citizens responsible for cutting their right-of-ways.
Now, Eubanks says after the first story aired, she went to a city council meeting to get assistance, but Carlos, she told you she left with nothing done.
Greg and Amanda, that is correct. In fact, she says when she went to the last city council meeting, she was silenced.
I had some concerns that I was going to give to him. I gave him my name, told him I'd been living here 16 and a half years, and that I had a concern about the grass that they told me that I was supposed to cut. Well, the mayor cut me off just like that.
Eubanks says the mayor asked her to write her name and phone number down, telling her that other people were also concerned about the ordinance. She says the mayor told her that they would review her concerns and give her a call back and let her know what they decided. Eubanks says that never happened.
I have not heard a word from them.
The right-of-way ordinance now makes property owners responsible for keeping their businesses and homes' yards clean all the way to the curb of the adjoining streets. If not, they face fines. Eubanks says the city should be responsible for right-of-way property.
That is their property, but now they're trying to make us do it so they can save money to spend on something else.
I took Eubanks' concerns to the mayor's office and they issued a statement, and part of it reads, "We understand there are some issues with our current ordinance and hope to have a solution soon." Eubanks says she's confused by the right-of-way ordinance when she feels it has bigger problems.
On the way to the city council meeting, I passed schools, I passed a courthouse, and their grass was not cut.
Now, Eubanks called me about an hour after I left her home today to tell me Public Works arrived cleaning around the area. I then drove back to her house to see for myself, and crews were in fact working to beautify the area. Now, of course, this is a story we will continue to follow and bring you any new updates both on air and online at WGXA.tv. For now, we're live here in Warner Robins. I'm Carlos Stevens, WGXA News.
Thank you so much, Carlos. Make and bid bars and food trucks have new regulations they'll have to follow if they want to continue doing business.
It comes after the Make and Bid Commission made some big changes with the approval of several ordinances at last night's meeting. Bars will now be required to close an hour earlier at 2 a.m. Food trucks will have to close up shop and stop sales on public property by 10 every night.
The ordinance is an attempt by the county to address crime in downtown, but not every commissioner was on board. Elaine Lucas says that the new rules are punishing people just trying to earn a living, and Virgil Watkins wanted to table the matter to get more input from the business owners it would impact.
Now, right now, the commission is not taking public input, but WGXA does want to hear from those who this new ordinance affects.
Our Raina Plunkett reached out to several local businesses to find out how they're feeling about the new rules.
Add one dash of a shooting by a local bar, a splash of law enforcement taking away their liquor license, and commissioners voting on an ordinance that would change when Macon bars have to close up shop, and you've got a cocktail for controversy in downtown Macon.
I feel like it's a couple of bad apples that are spoiling it for the entire bunch.
Owner and operator of JBA, Brandon Lawler, is now among dozens of bar owners in downtown Macon who will now have to shake up their routine to get people out of the door. Tuesday night, in a 5-4 vote, commissioners passed a new ordinance that would force bars to stop serving alcohol and close their doors at 2 a.m. A big change for Lawler, who now has to start pushing people out a half hour earlier.
We're no longer a 900 square foot dive on the corner. We're now a 6,000 square foot venue on Cherry Street that can fit a magnitude more people inside the building.
It's a decision that he says could impact his bottom line.
At last call, people want to get that last drink in, and theoretically last call at 1:30 at 2, but you're seeing a half hour difference. That's another couple drinks, and when you have that spread across a couple hundred people, potentially could be a hit.
Despite some of the changes being harder to swallow, the bar owner says he's hoping time will build up his tolerance to the change.
All the crime and stuff that's been happening, we want to see change, and if this is it, so be it. That's great, awesome. Like I'm here for it. But the thing is, we need to see it. We need to see a longevity of it, not like a 2-week change and then it goes back to the same old, same old. Like, let's see this thing happen for 6 months going on, just always happening. Like, not when the Christmas lights are happening, not when big things are happening downtown, but on a random October Saturday. Like, I want to see presence downtown that gives me and other people the security that downtown does feel and is.
Some students at Peach County High School are going beyond the grade book and giving back to the community with a project aimed at helping those who have put their lives on the line. In this week's Making the Grade, we got our hands dirty with the students and the teacher who are leading the charge.
Work ethic is a big key too, teamwork, and we can use these skills in life as we go on.
Students enrolled in the agriculture class at Peach County High are currently learning many lessons, including ones that they can apply in their personal lives. They're building a tiny home and learning everything from teamwork to plumbing to painting, and it's something their teacher says they will carry forever.
Working hard for number one, which is important, staying diligent with these duties, learning and understanding some of these technical aspects like how to wire.
This house is set to be donated to an organization that assists veterans that suffer with PTSD following their traumatic experiences.
Stetson Crane is a student in the class who says he has learned many lessons in the class, including work ethic, and has gained appreciation for all that veterans have done for the country.
Building this house for them, for all they've done for us.
If you know any students that are going above and beyond and making the grade, be sure to send them my way. Well, the heat continues across middle Georgia, and I don't know if we're going to see any heat relief.
I tell you, Amanda, that's the big question we always have for Chief Meteorologist Ryan Stinnett. And Ryan, I believe you said that we will see some heat relief, maybe just not the way we want to see it.
Right. I mean, we'll have a few thunderstorms tomorrow, but many of us will stay dry. Temperatures will come down some the next several days. we can do that, but still, it is early September. It's often hot in middle Georgia. Now, looking down in Dublin right now, 90 degrees on our Wilson Bright Heating and Air Skycast network. Generally sunny conditions. Those sunny conditions have allowed those temperatures to warm up into the 90s in most locations. Still this evening, we're sitting at 92 in Macon, 92 in Warner Robins, as well as Americus, 94 in Montezuma, and 95 in McRae. Clear scan of the radar means no rain this evening, but that will change tomorrow evening. So if you're heading out and about this evening, enjoy it. It's going to be a little warm, but tolerable. Again, rain in the forecast tomorrow. I'll show you that in Maine weather.
All right, now's a great time to download the WGXA weather app. Scan the QR code on your screen. It'll go straight to your smartphone or smart device. Ryan is back shortly with your full forecast. To local crime tonight in Bibb County, investigators are still searching for the shooter who put a man in critical condition last night. The sheriff's office says a man was shot last night in the parking lot of the Food Depot on Northside Drive. He was able to drive himself up the road to the Kroger on Tom Hill Senior Boulevard, where he was taken to Atrium. He's currently in critical condition. This is an ongoing investigation. If you have any information, please call the Bibb County Sheriff's Office.
And one man will spend the rest of his life in prison after pleading guilty to the murder of a woman and her unborn child. 41-year-old Jeremiah Waller pleaded guilty yesterday, a day before his trial was set to start. He admits to shooting at a group of people inside their vehicle back in June 2021. The victims were waiting on deputies to arrive to retrieve a stolen car that belonged to one of the victims. Patricia Gamboa and her unborn child died after she was shot in the head. Waller will spend the rest of his life in prison on murder, feticide, aggravated assault, and firearm possession charges.
To Georgia news now, and dozens of people are now facing serious charges in Georgia as the state attorney general announces a new high-profile racketeering case. 61 people are being indicted under the RICO law after protesting a proposed police and firefighter training facility in the Atlanta area dubbed Cop City. Republican AG Chris Carr called the defendants militant anarchists who recruited people from around the country to set police cars on fire, torch construction equipment, and even throw Molotov cocktails at officers.
They hold a core belief that society should abolish police, government, and private business. And as further alleged, they're willing to bring about such changes, quote, by any means necessary, end quote, including violence.
Opponents of the facility argue it would increase militarization of the police and construction would bring more environmental damage to a poor majority black area. In response to the charges, the Cop City Vote Coalition accuses Carr of trying to silence free speech, arguing they were just standing up for their community. Many of those indicted are facing charges like domestic terrorism, felony intimidation, and money laundering.
Now to politics and some red flags popping up for President Biden's re-election efforts. Some key voting groups that have traditionally helped Democrats on Election Day aren't exactly enthused.
And while that would be a problem for any politician, Biden may have more reason than others to worry, as Scott Fuhrman explained.
For President Biden, a need to turn things around. Democrats alarmed by the potential Biden-Trump matchup may be nervous based on new numbers. A series of New York Times Siena College polls over the last year show Biden leads Trump by just 53% to 28% among registered non-white voters, a marked deterioration in Biden's support compared with 2020 when he won more than 70% of non-white voters. Enough to make the difference between keeping the White House or handing the keys back to his predecessor, should they be the nominees.
Young voters, young Black and Latino voters, they're not ready to come back to the party. They're not even looking at the so-called messaging that's being sent to them about the economy, about climate change, about student debt relief.
Biden constantly trying to shore up support among skeptics.
Your generation will not be ignored, will not be shunned, will not be silenced.
Biden appointing America's first Black female Supreme Court justice, White House press secretary, and of course partnering with the first Black vice president. And Biden chose the first Latino to head the Department of Homeland Security. But election hopes go hand in hand with turnout. Having support is one battle, getting people to vote is another. According to Roll Call, Black voters posted an almost 52% participation rate in 2018, but only 42% cast a ballot in 2022.
Right now, things have changed for Black America. And I think what Black folks are saying, we're choosing our pocketbook. So I'm not saying that the Republican is going to get a surge of Black voters, but I do think either Black voters are going to turn to a different party or they're going to stay at home.
A skittish economy and seeing the same old faces as options could further contribute to any voter apathy. Trump still way behind Biden with those voters, but even small gains could change the game. In Washington, I'm Scott Thuman.
Planning out your school day on Thursday, we start off in the 70s, warming up into the 90s, and hopefully most everyone is home by the time those storms arrive tomorrow evening. But just be aware that there could be a few thunderstorms earlier in the afternoon, and that's what we'll be talking about. Some storms certainly possible Thursday afternoon, generally dry after that through the weekend. Now, rain chances about 10% for Friday and Saturday, a little bit higher on Sunday, and we are keeping an eye on Hurricane Lee. It's our newest system, and it quickly developed into a hurricane the last 24 hours. Wind 75 miles per hour, starting to get its act together. We're looking at the satellite presentation, and this looks like a very healthy storm, and this is only going to intensify over the next 5 to 7 days. Will rapidly become a major hurricane forecast to be a high-end Category 4 storm. Some model data say it could be a Category 5. Good news is not impacting any land anytime soon. We will keep an eye on it because it will have to turn north at some point. Is it closer to the coast? Is it closer to Bermuda? We're about a week away. We'll just have to wait and see, but just know this may be the most powerful hurricane of this season, but thankfully not impacting land anytime soon. We are watching storms this evening off towards our north and west, North Mississippi, West Tennessee. Those will drop into Alabama later today, but then tomorrow as that boundary pushes south, we'll get a few thunderstorms developing across middle Georgia. Nothing expansive or widespread, but there will be some rumblers. The radar will not be quiet as we head through the day tomorrow, so that is certainly some good news. It will provide some heat relief. We do have to note there is a level 1 risk for a few stronger storms tomorrow afternoon. Again, peak heating of the day, that's instability. We could see a few storms briefly become severe with those damaging wind gusts. We'll keep an eye on it, but overall, if you find yourself under one of those storms, consider yourself lucky. That is heat relief. Closer to home for middle Georgia, quiet tonight, quiet through most of the day tomorrow, but tomorrow afternoon, hopefully these will develop a little bit later. Schools should be out by then, but there will be thunderstorms on the radar tomorrow evening, and then those will be out of here as we head through Friday. Rain chances about 40% tomorrow. I'm dropping it to about 10 to 20 for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The next week, slightly better rain chances. Tomorrow in Macon, looking for a high of 95 degrees. Some thunderstorms during the afternoon and evening hours. Rest of middle Georgia, widespread 90s. You can expect those from 92 in Roberta to 92 in Irwington, 93 down in Dublin. The 10-day forecast, the 90s will stick around for the foreseeable future, but lower 90s. We will certainly take that. A few thunderstorms will be possible Friday, and then next Wednesday looks to be our next storm threat that could bring temperatures in the 80s late next week. And finally, your Harrison's Body Shop Fish and Game forecast peaks in the good range multiple times tomorrow.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gary Thigpen, and I'm here again today at the Humane Society of Houston County in Warner Robins. I got a little competition today because these dogs are really happy. Not only that, they want to find a good home. I'm joined again today by Dee, and guess who we're going to tell you about today?
This is Whitley. She's about a year old. She came to us the other week, and as you can notice, Whitley is lacking some groceries. Somebody tried to almost starve her to death. So we are feeding her up very slowly, and she is absolutely a doll baby. Love those big radar ears.
And those big, beautiful eyes. Look how sweet Whitley is. And can you believe that someone would try to starve her to death? I mean, this is just ridiculous how people treat these dogs.
Yep.
Now, if someone would like to adopt Whitley, or I mean, look at her legs. I mean, look.
They go on forever.
That is
if we did a commercial, you know, the ZZ Top, she's got legs.
Yes.
She'd be the prime candidate for that.
That is sad, folks. If someone would like to give Whitley a good home, because certainly she does deserve that now, Dee, how would they go about doing that?
Go on our website, Humane Society of Houston County, and fill out the application process. Please allow 7 to 10 business days to process your application.
All right, don't you want to give Whitley a good home, who were almost starved to death on purpose? And she deserves such a good home. Let's go ahead and find that for her today, folks. Thank you so much, Dee.
Thank you.
Wendy's is throwing its pigtails into the pumpkin spice ring. The fast food chain is experimenting with the fall favorite flavor in what else than a Frosty. Starting next Tuesday, Wendy's will offer the frozen treat infused with a taste of crisp air and colorful leaves. That type of feeling is exactly why seasonal flavors have become so popular. They invoke a sense of nostalgia and excitement, and their limited availability creates a sense of urgency that boosts demand. So if you're going to keep count, pumpkin spice marks the 6th flavor for the Frosty. There's a chocolate and vanilla, as well as limited flavors, peppermint, strawberry, and birthday cake. So I was having this discussion with our producer before the show. I don't know that I want to taste it, because for me, pumpkin spice is associated with fall. Frosty is associated with summer. The two things just don't go together.
I don't know, Amanda. I love to have ice cream any season of the year, but you're right. Theoretically, you think of ice cream during the summer and pumpkin spice in the fall. Since you're having a deep thought there, I can tell.
No, that is garbage. Wendy's, don't mess with a good thing.
Well, how do you really feel about it?
I know, but
Yeah.
everything, pumpkin spice. Ugh.
But, you know, I do feel like saying, you know, breaking news, everyone. Breaking news, breaking news. Not everything has to be pumpkin spice.
Right.
You know, I mean,
This time of the year, it does, because it's pumpkin spice, everything nice. Get behind the movement,
Yeah,
gentlemen.
but it doesn't
I'm
feel
not with
like
the
pumpkin
movement.
spice season yet. It's going to be like October.
October before we get.
But I don't.
But what's
I don't do
next?
pumpkin spice.
Are we going to have pumpkin spice saltine crackers? I mean, maybe that would be.
I bet there's pumpkin spice
No,
Oreos.
the saltine crackers are meant to be bland. You can't add pumpkin spice.
I don't know, man.
Oh,
Maybe some
all right.
pumpkin spice. We'll just slap it on there. After
A pumpkin spice donut sounds really good right now.
Those are out there.
That does
I
sound
guarantee
good.
you
I'll have to give you
Dunkin's
that.
has that.
Yeah, I'm sure Dunkin' probably does do it. I need to go to Dunkin'.
Well, we could argue about food all night. We love it. And we thank you for joining us, everyone.
We invite you to join us at 6 on ABC 16.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Have an amazing Wednesday evening, Middle Georgia.
Hey.